When things get hard, don't give up, don't dig in, but keep moving forward. Hey guys, it's Dan Greer with Forge, coming at you today for your 5-minute power up. And today we're chatting all about when things get hard. So life is going to get hard, right? Like, that's all I can say. Life is going to get hard. And what I want to encourage you to do is when life gets hard, don't give up, don't give in, don't dig in, and just keep going no matter what. But I want you to encourage you to take a second, evaluate why it's hard, what is hard about it, and then move forward. And here's what I mean by that. Okay. I actually just had a beautiful conversation with somebody who's absolutely amazing. And one of the things that I discovered while I was having this conversation with her was that, like, they went through some tough times last week, and not necessarily as a company, but some of the things that were going on. And she was just like wore down. You could tell that she was mentally tired. She hadn't been sleeping very well, and she wasn't necessarily emotional, but like, you know what I mean? You just tell that she was worn down. She was stressed. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, how's everything going? And she goes, oh man, it was brutal. You know, we had that deal last week and it didn't go so well. And so now we got to go out and fix it all. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, man. Fixing things sucks. Been there, I don't know how many times, but anyways, I was like, well, do you have a plan to fix this? So does it have moving forward? And she's like, yeah, we do. Cool. Well, as long as you have a plan to fix it to where it doesn't move forward, you can do that. And we had a little bit of a conversation, about 5 or 10 minutes. And honestly, like, it's a struggle for what she's got going on and where she's at and kind of what she's doing. And she's kind of getting pushback from people who think they're better than she is and don't want her to do her job. And that makes it really hard to do your job. Like, when people are giving you pushback because they think they know better than you do, and they're just not staying in their own lane. But like, I understand. And she's like, dude, I'm about ready to give up. I'm about ready to give up. And I said, don't give up. What I want you to do is I want you to educate yourself, and I want you to evaluate how you can change and what's something you can change to make yourself better today than you were yesterday. And she's like, that's ingenious. And so I gave her a suggestion. I was like, go read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's written in the 30s, but it's really good. You should check it out. I understand you're tired, but it'll revitalize you as long as you allow it to. Like, take a breather and move on. And she's like, oh man, that is really good advice. And I was like, okay, so my key here is, like, no matter where you're at, no matter what you got going on, things get hard. They get tough, right? Life isn't easy, but it's not going to be hard forever. Okay. It's one of those things where life is hard for a little while, and you can choose to embrace the hardness of it and enjoy it, or you can choose to fight it the whole time. And that's up to you. And like, if you choose to fight it, here's what usually happens. When you choose to fight that, when you choose to fight life getting hard, you have a tendency to put up your dukes and not roll with the punches so well. And what happens, in all honesty, is this. What happens is that you end up losing sleep, losing sanity, losing a bunch of stuff. But you're the one who ends up losing. Nobody else does. Life doesn't lose because it got tough, right? You lose because you fought it so hard. And here's the other thing I've learned is, like, if you go with the flow, if you go with the direction that they want you to go with it in, now all of a sudden, what happens? Well, what happens is you stop fighting it. And life doesn't drag you around, but you go willingly with it. And then what happens is it stops fighting you. And it allows you, because it's like, think about this. I don't know. Have y'all ever worked with an animal before? We used to break steers to lead. The way we broke steers to lead is we tie them up to a fence post. Put an halter on them with a chain halter on them, and then you tie them up to a fence post, a really good, well-rooted fence post, but you tie them up to that fence post. And then when you tied them up to that fence post, they would fight it, and you'd spend time with them all day long. You didn't just leave them. You had to be out there with them all day in case they went down. And you'd untie them real quick. Right? But we spent lots of time with them. And that was the way we fought them. That was the way we trained them. We didn't fight them. They finally learned that fence post wasn't going to fight. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh man, this comb, you're combing me. This brush, it feels pretty darn good, actually. They start wiggling, and then After a couple weeks, not being tied up for 2 weeks in a row, but doing it for a couple hours a day, for a couple weeks, all of a sudden they're excited to come out and see you, and they run towards you because you're going to brush them and you're going to comb them, and you're going to pet them, and you're going to feed them, and you're going to give them grain and food and hay. And they're super excited because they stop fighting you. And then all of a sudden you take them into a show ring and they still don't fight you because they've learned to trust you. They went your way, right? Now you might be like, Dan, you just told me not to fight, but you just won those steers. Well, reverse the roles. Life is the fence post you're tied up to, and you're the steer that's tied up to it, right? In today's world, the way they break calves now to lead is they tie them up to a donkey. You know why they tie them up to a donkey? Because that donkey ain't going to move. And when that donkey wants to go get a drink of water, that steer is going to go get a drink of water with him. And that's how they teach him to lead. They leave him tied up to him for like a week. And then all of a sudden that steer broke the lead like you wouldn't believe, because he's used to following that donkey around, and that donkey's not going to lose. He's going to win. He's going to kick back the whole entire time. The steer doesn't want to move. That donkey wants to move. He puts his butt toward him. He kicks him. Like pain is inflicted. And then the animal moves. Right? Crap, that hurts when I don't go where this donkey wants to go. Well, life is very much the same way. A lot of times when we're just fighting to fight, we're not actually winning. We're not actually doing any good. We're just fighting. We're just fighting. That's it. We're just fighting. Okay? So here's my thing. I know it's been a little longer than 5 minutes today, but I want you to get out there and roll with the flow, roll with the punches, roll with whatever life is thrown at you today. And I want you to see how that works. Instead of getting upset about it, just be like, cool. Next hit, let's go. And that's the way I want you to handle it. And I want you to see if it changes for you. All right, guys, that's your 5-minute power up. We'll talk to you later.